Oi oi girls and boys and everything in between, it's Ace Trainer Liam, and today I'm continuing my series where I'm going through all of the 18 Pokemon types and listing you my top 10 from each type. And today is a great day because today I'm going through my favorite type, the best type there is, the most popular type there could possibly be in terms of how many Pokemon are actually in that. You know, the most prevalent. Popular was probably the wrong word. The most prevalent type, which is the water type. Now, water types come in all shapes and sizes, but God, they're amazing. I really do. Like, I can't stress enough just how much I love the water type. It's just the best, right? I don't care what anyone says. They have the best Pokemon in the water type. They have some of the strongest Pokemon in the water type. They just have some of the coolest Pokemon in the water type. So it just seems awfully fitting that today I'm going to go through and list my absolute top 10 favorite water type Pokemon. It's been like 2 years since I last talked about the water type, so let's jump straight in and I'll bring you my top 10. Number 10, Floatzel. Now, to borrow from legendary wrestling tag team Edge and Christian, this Pokemon reeks of awesomeness. It's just so cool. It's sleek. It's suave, it's sophisticated in a way. It's just a great thing to look at. Like, it just looks perfect. I like the design of the flotation sac that it has. It's speedy, it's quite a fast Pokemon if you actually look at its stats. And it's one of those where you can tell the kind of weasel otter animal that it's based on, but at the same time, it looks like it, but it also looks like a Pokemon. It's very Pokemon-esque. Like, so many cool designs came out of Gen 4, and to think that far into the history of Pokemon, they were still bringing out great designs that looked very simple but were very effective at portraying a Pokemon. Floatzel just works so well. It's great, it's got a bit of an attitude to it, it's just so freaking cool. Like, you can't really fault how cool this Pokemon is. It just looks like an absolute boss. Alright, granted, it's outshined by a lot of other water types, but hey, at least it gets Water Veil, so it can't be burned, I guess. Number 9, Bruxish. Now, this one is the complete other end of the coin because this Pokemon is so darn ugly and I love it. Like, a lot of people dislike Bruxish because they're like, oh, it's all different colors and it's got big horrible teeth and it's all nasty. No, it's great. It's fantastic. It looks brilliant. It reminds me so much of Austin Powers, which is why my Bruxish in the past has just been called Yeah Baby, because it's so oh, it's great. It's got horrible teeth, but I love it for that. When I first saw it in the trailers for Sun and Moon, I was just like, that's something I need. I need me one of them Bruxishes, although then it turned out that it doesn't actually appear that often, and it's kind of annoying to actually try and find one. But other than that, it's great. It's also got a really cool shiny. It has great abilities in Dazzle, which prevents priority moves, which is just fantastic because so many Pokemon simply rely on priority moves, especially in a world where Sucker Punch exists, which of course is super effective against Bruxish, so if you can block that, that's great. But it can also have Strong Jaw, which is an excellent ability to have to a Pokemon that has its signature move Psychic Fangs, which can destroy Light Screen and Protect. It's just such a great addition to the Pokemon franchise, and it brought us some great new abilities that are unique to this Pokemon and great new moves as well. It's the total package. I love Pokemon that bring more than just themselves to the Pokemon universe. Number 8, Sharpedo. From one Pokemon with incredible jaws to another, we have Sharpedo, the brutal Pokemon, the absolute destroyer of the sea. It's fantastic, and I mean, it was great being a ride Pokemon, but on top of that, it's so much fun to battle with because you have the option of rough skin, give it rough skin and a rocky helmet, although its defenses aren't great, so that's not always the best strategy to adopt because you don't want Sharpedo to get hit. But the great way to go about it is take advantage of Speed Boost. Speed Boost is a fantastic ability that very few Pokemon get, but the ones that do are very, very lucky, and Sharpedo is among those lucky Pokemon. I mean, granted, it's a very obvious strategy with Sharpedo. You use Speed Boost to get it +1 speed after the first turn, you know, use Protect, and then the Speed Boost will activate. Or if you're really lucky and you predict your opponent switching, you could use, like, Agility, and then get an extra Speed Boost, and then you're unstoppable. But then Mega Evolve on the next turn into Mega Sharpedo, get that Strong Jaw ability and all those lovely stat boosts, and it's just incredible. It's so much fun to use. It's got a fantastic shiny version. It's just really, really cool all over. There's not a lot you can say about Sharpedo apart from the fact that it's just really cool, really menacing, really mean, and really awesome. Number 7, Seaking. Honestly, they're not all going to end up being fish from here on out. Don't worry, there is some variation later on. And I know Seeking to a lot of people is just a fish. A lot of people have said that Seeking is lackluster, that Seeking is, oh wow, we had Goldeen, and then it just evolves into another goldfish with a horn. That's kind of lame. Seeking is beautiful, and Seeking is amazing. I've had so much fun, as a lot of you will know, using Seeking in online battles, because I make it bulky and I combine that with leftovers so it heals each turn, and then give it Aqua Ring so it heals even more each turn. You've then got Protect on there so you can take one turn to rest, which means that you can technically get 2 Aqua Ring boosts and 2 leftover boosts to your HP, as, you know, in the space of one turn, and then you give it its attacking moves. You give it Waterfall and see what happens. But also then I've experimented with giving it things like Poison Jab, because then you can break down your opponent with the poison while slowly restoring your own HP using Protects and things and try and stall out that way. Or you can just go full hammer and go with Mega Horn, and with Mega Horn, my Seeking in the past, good old Rolo as I call him, has taken down Mewtwo, it's taken down a Latios, or maybe a Latias, can't remember, it's taken down a Deoxys. Mate, this Seeking is badass. All Seeking are badass. Seeking is a great underrated Pokemon, especially with the fact that it gets Lightning Rod, so it's only weak to grass type moves. You can't do anything against it with electric type attacks, you can't Thunder Wave it, it's just so cool. Seeking is super underrated, and I will always love Seeking. I've had great experiences with Seeking, and I can't wait to have one in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. It's gonna be awesome. Number 6, Blastoise. Now, I may have my nostalgia glasses on here. Maybe Blastoise isn't as good as I want to think it is. Although saying that, it really, really is. Yes, it was my first starter back in 1999, playing Pokemon Blue with my little Squirtle going all the way through. I only picked Squirtle because Blastoise was on the box, and I thought you were supposed to choose the Pokemon that was on the box. I thought that was the point of the game. So I picked Squirtle thinking this is the turtle. Maybe it gets to be that big one off the front of the box. So that's why I ended up with Squirtle as my starter. But I'm so glad I chose it because I got to end up with a Blastoise. And Blastoise is so cool. I mean, I guess that's part of the reason I wanted Pokemon Blue and not Pokemon Red, is because I thought Blastoise looked cooler than Charizard. And it still does. I mean, it's a tortoise. Okay, it's a very simple tortoise. It just happens to have 2 big cannons on its back. But it's really amazing to look at. It looks mean, it looks like it could kill you, it's just fantastic. And it does have decent stats. Its abilities, I mean, Rain Dish is fine if you've got Rain set up, but other than that, not a great big deal. But I just love me some Blastoise. Maybe it is nostalgia glasses, or maybe it's just that cool. Number 5, Lapras. So we go from something bulking and brutal to something beautiful in the form of Lapras. Lapras has been a Pokemon that ever since I first saw it, I just thought, wow, that thing just looks adorable. It's so gorgeous to look at. It just looks like a great Pokemon. And you can have fun with it stat-wise because it's got a little bit of bulk to it. You can even give it Dragon Dance these days and really buff up your Lapras. It's weird. I've had some weird combinations of moves with Lapras. Like I used to use a Dragon Dance Lapras for a while. Obviously, you've also got the option of Perish Song, tie it up with a Pokemon like Wobbuffet with a trapping ability like Shadow Tag, which means that then you can trap people into Perish Song and then just switch out at the last minute, swap your Pokemon around, that kind of thing. It's great to use. It's so much fun. And I just really, as a water and ice type, I just really, really like it. Like, there are other water and ice types like Cloyster and Walrein, but this is the one that really stands out to me. Lapras is just such an integral part of Pokemon lore, especially with it being the transport Pokemon and transporting people from island to island and region to region, things like that. It just works so well for what it is, and it's such a well-rounded Pokemon in terms of stats, in terms of lore, in terms of look. It's just freaking amazing. Number 4, Frogadier. Now, we all know why I like Frogadier, but actually I like Frogadier just because it looks really cool. I mean, that's basically the reason I like it. I mean, I love Froakie, I think it's adorable. I love Frogadier because I think it's that great middle stage evolution where it's a combination of kind of cute, but kind of cool at the same time. I'm not really a fan of Greninja, just mainly appearance-wise. I just don't enjoy Greninja. I don't like to look at Greninja. I don't see the appeal. I'm not really a ninja person. I'm more of a, I don't know. it's not really the opposite of a ninja, it's just I just don't find ninjas that interesting, so Greninja didn't really do it for me. Whereas Frogadier looks cool, it's got kind of a circus vibe to it. Like, I always think, you know, the triangle patterns on its side kind of look like the triangle patterns you get on that circle that goes in the middle of a circus tent, but I just really like it. I mean, I still use it the same way you would use a Greninja. I make sure it has the Protean ability, I raise it with special attack and speed in mind, so it can do as much damage as it can, as quickly as it can, but I just prefer using it over Greninja, and I just think it's one of my favorite Pokemon physically, like appearance-wise. It just looks so much cooler than any other Pokemon that I've seen. I just really, really love it. There's not really a lot to say about Frogadier, apart from I just think it just looks so cool compared to its evolved form, and it's just one of my favorite water types. Simple. Number 3, Gyarados. Now this thing should be a flying type. I know everyone's always like, oh, Gyarados shouldn't be a flying type, it should be dragon because it's based on a Chinese dragon. Well, technically you're right, but also technically you're wrong, because it's based on the kites that the Chinese would use to represent the Chinese dragon in their festivals, in their celebrations. So it's not technically based on a dragon, it's based on a kite that's based on a dragon. So it should be a flying type because kites fly. That's the point of them. So that's the reason. I mean, okay, maybe you could say that maybe it should be dragon flying rather than water flying, but I think that'd be overkill. Especially in Generation 1, I think that would have been overkill, because we already had Dragonite for that. So it makes sense that it was water and flying, and I love it anyway, because it just looks so cool. It's a freaking bruiser of a Pokemon. If used right, Gyarados can be a machine. And that's why in VGC 2017, we started to see Gyarados creep back for a little bit. Do you remember the Gyarados resurgence that happened? Not so common now, because obviously we've got things like the Ultra Beasts and we've got all that kind of thing in rotation. But back then we did see the reappearance of Gyarados. We saw Gyarados being used as an Intimidate Pokemon. We saw a little bit of Mega Gyarados, because that's a cool thing that Gyarados can do. It can turn into Mega Gyarados, which is really, really cool as well. Gyarados and Mega Gyarados are just such badass Pokemon. They're so cool. They're so fantastic to look at, and they're also great to use in battle, and it just works perfectly. It's such a menacing Pokemon, it's such a terrifying Pokemon, and that's the kind of thing that I feel is lost in Pokemon sometimes. Sometimes the Pokemon are a little bit too cartoony, and a little bit like, oh, well, these Pokemon aren't scary, because they're quite cartoony, they're quite, you know, they look animated. Whereas Gyarados, you can picture what it would look like if it was real, and it's absolutely terrifying, and that works so well. Number 2, Empoleon. Now, I won't keep you long on Empoleon because I did talk about it in my top 10 Steel-type Pokemon, which you can go and check out. Please go and check it out, like, I'd really appreciate it. But I'll just kind of echo the points that I mentioned in there. It looks cool, it looks sleek, it looks regal. It was really cool in Pokken Tournament. It's a great starter Pokemon, especially when you've gone from Piplup to Prinplup to Empoleon, and then you've got all those awesome resistances that come with being a Steel-type Pokemon, especially with the immunity to poison as well, which really, really helps out when you're going through Sinnoh. It's just an all-round great Pokemon to me. I love its design, I love its stats, I love its abilities, I love its typing. It's just a fantastic Pokemon. And Empoleon, I just love you, dude. You're f***ing great. Number 1, Poliwhirl. Now, this is basically common knowledge at this point. I think everybody watching pretty much knows this is the case, although if you're new, hey, you just learned something about me that you'll never ever forget. Poliwhirl is my favorite water type Pokemon. Poliwhirl is my favorite Pokemon of all time. It's just so cute and so bouncy and so wonderful. Again, it's a perfect middle evolution because Poliwag is cute, Poliwhirl is kind of cute, but also kind of cool. And then, of course, Poliwrath and Politoed both look pretty damn cool, although Politoed's the kind of difference there because it's also very cute, very confusing. But Poliwhirl itself just, without even having a mouth or eyebrows, it's so full of expression. Like, you can do so much with a Poliwhirl. It's so versatile. Yeah, it's not great in battle, and it never will be. Even a Belly Drum Eviolite Poliwhirl isn't that great because it still gets knocked out really quickly because you lose half your HP on the Belly Drum. But then if you don't give it Eviolite, it's not going to survive enough hits anyway. It doesn't work. Poliwhirl does not work as a competitive Pokemon, and I don't care because appearance-wise, it's so perfect. It's so full of personality. I really, really love this Pokemon. I mean, it's one of those that I've loved for years and years and years, and I can't see that going away. It's just always going to be my favorite. If ever anyone is at a convention or anything like that, You want to bring a Poliwhirl plush for me? You want to bring a Poliwhirl figurine or Poliwhirl cards? I don't mind. I love all things Poliwhirl. It's just my absolute favorite. It's my favorite Pokemon of all time, and it's my favorite water type as a result. So there you go. Poliwhirl, you're an absolute winner. It's you and me, dude, every step of the way. So that'll wrap it up for my list of my top 10 favorite water type Pokemon. Let me know down in the comments which are your top 10 favorite water type Pokemon. Of course, explain why for me, otherwise it's kind of boring. Of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to support the channel like these guys down here do, you can pledge to my Patreon. The links to everything you need are in the description down below. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.